Hello, everybody. My name is Natalia Levina, and I'm a professor at New York University. And this is a work with my colleagues, Sarah Lebovitz and Hila Lifshitz-Assaf. We're all at NYU Stern School of Business. This, we are going to talk about the use of artificial intelligence for critical judgment, and in particular, the judgments that involves a lot of ambiguity in professional work settings. So speaking about the role of artificial intelligence and collective intelligence, we all know that artificial intelligence tools, especially machine learning tools, learn from the collective intelligence of humans as they're trained on the decisions that humans have made in the past. But we also know that human experts make errors in their judgment, and collective intelligence is one of the tools that we use to address errors by aggregating decisions of multiple humans with some feedback over time. So when we use artificial intelligence that is trained on human judgment to make new decisions, it's likely to produce errors as well. And these errors could be similar or different from the errors made by human experts. This research project focuses on the question of what happens when a human expert is using an artificial intelligence tool in order to make high stakes decisions such as medical diagnosis. Now I'll hand it over to my wonderful collaborator and the lead author for this study, Sarah Lebovitz, to walk you through the research methods and the findings of this study.
Great. So we set out to answer this question by conducting an in-depth field study at a large hospital in the US. This hospital is at the cutting edge of adopting and researching AI tools in radiology. And the study has over 8 months of observational data sitting alongside radiologists many hours a week as they form their diagnoses, both with AI tools and without. The main data for this study focuses on 3 different AI tools used in different settings. They have a new generation AI tool that is based on X-ray and 2 somewhat more established tools that are in context of breast cancer diagnosis and lung cancer diagnosis. So this is the data that we'll be comparing in this study. When physicians are making diagnoses in this context, they are facing a lot of ambiguity as they make diagnoses. They're taking in a wide range of information from medical imaging to their patient history. Really, a lot of information goes into making these difficult decisions, and they're under a high degree of time pressure. They're facing many, many cases building up in their work list, and they're trying to provide the best interpretation of each case as possible. And each decision they make has high consequences. We're talking about life and death diagnoses for their patients every day. And in this field, they're facing significant responsibility, both on the professional level, legal, ethical. They're having financial risks every decision they make. So this is really the context we're talking about. As they make every decision, they're working to reduce this high amount of ambiguity in order to provide a single diagnosis, or in some cases, a set of possible diagnoses for every case. Focusing first on the case of breast cancer, when they're having to provide a diagnosis of this kind, it's a very complex, visually overwhelming case. They have many mammograms, which are dense and full of information. They have to spend, they have 80 or 90 or 100 of these every day. So they're moving very quickly and on average spend less than 2 minutes to provide a diagnosis for each case. Again, these are very high costs of errors. If they miss a diagnosis, this has significant costs to the patient. And also if they make an error and call something cancer that isn't, this also has high costs for the patient as well. The highest amount of ambiguity they face is trying to figure out if a tiny change in the image that may be really subtle and hard to identify is meaningful given all of the information. So they're trying to understand whether or not each piece leads them to make a cancer diagnosis or a benign and healthy diagnosis. There's an AI tool that is available in their workflow, and this tool uses rule-based, it's a rule-based system. It also uses neural networks, and it provides these symbols on top of the image you can see here. And it comes up as an overlay on the mammogram, and the triangles and stars and plus signs, they detect, it's where the AI tool has detected a possible abnormality. And this tool is based on training over many cases of prior diagnoses of cancer and pathology-proven reports. And this has a fairly high accuracy and performance level based on published results of the vendor and field-level validation studies. And they activate this in their workflow using a single click of the mouse to show the results. But as they're using the tool, we started to notice they're asking many questions about, what is this telling me to look at? I have no idea what it's thinking. Or it just points out an area and leaves you to figure it out. It's like saying, this is weird, but what do you want to do with it? And as we understood this struggle that the physicians were facing while using this tool, we realized that they're having a lack of ability to interrogate the AI results. The images would show, and they had no way of really practically understanding whether the detection that the tool was providing was really a cancerous area or not. They didn't understand how the tool was making the decisions, and the tool didn't provide any additional features to interrogate underneath some of the factors or imaging features that were leading to this decision. And they were under so much time pressure that they had really limited ability to spend any additional time going through this additional thought. And so in cases where there was agreement, where the physician and AI result were the same, this is great. They moved on quickly and moved on to the next case. But very often there was disagreement where the tool and the physician had differing and conflicting opinions. And in these cases, the physicians had this increased ambiguity where they were no longer sure about their own diagnosis, and they weren't sure about the AI diagnosis because of its opacity. And in these cases, when there was disagreement, the physician had to come up with some answer of their own, and more often than not, were overruling the AI tool, ignoring its results, and providing their own judgment as the final diagnosis due to their high responsibility and this cost of errors in this context. So quickly comparing to the second context, which is diagnosing bone age, and in this case, it's a child's hand X-ray is sent for evaluation to see if it is growing at a normal rate or slightly below a normal rate. And there's an AI tool here that is brand new. It uses convolutional neural networks developed in 2018 using cutting edge technology. This tool also has really high results, showing almost 100% ability to match the physician's reading who trained and validated the AI tool. This context, the physicians were really excited about the tool as it was coming in. And in the case of bone ages, there is no pathology report that can provide a ground truth. And in this case, it is the physician's judgment that serves as that purpose. Here, the use of AI in the large majority of the cases, again, we saw conflicting results with the physician's judgment. And this led them to have this increase in ambiguity, just like in the prior case. And because they still didn't have an ability to interrogate the results, they, in most cases here, again, overruled many of the results, given they couldn't explain it and they have to take responsibility for their own decisions. The final case is diagnosing lung cancer. Here, it's a similar AI tool or similar underlying technology as the AI tool for diagnosing breast cancer. It's based on neural networks. It's been in place for several years. It has high performance in the literature. It detects around 80% of the nodules and also introduces several false positives in order to achieve that level of accuracy. And again, this is a visually overwhelming task. They're sifting through many, many layers of imaging. And in this case, it's CT imaging instead of mammography. The ground truth here again is it could be pathology. It could also be follow-up exams as patients come back for subsequent CTs to see how the potential disease is changing or evolving. The AI tool here, again, conflicted in a number of cases, in many cases, and there was still the same ability, lack of ability rather, to have any additional information from the tool. They still couldn't interrogate the tool. But in this case, we found that physicians were really valuing this tool, and they were incorporating its input regularly. They were regularly updating and changing their own diagnosis as it reflected the tool's input. Here, one physician even says, I think having CT AI is mission critical. For me, I absolutely love having this tool. I used to not have it in my prior hospital, and when I came here, I was amazed. So what we found when we dug into the instances where they were integrating the results, we found that as they were able to use their other tools at their disposal in their workflow, they had practices that allowed them to understand quickly whether or not the AI tool was providing an accurate or not result. And they could quickly decide whether or not the AI tool was right using their technology and other knowledge in their workflow. And so with this, I'll ask Hila Lifshitz-Assaf to share with us some implications and takeaways for AI and collective intelligence.
So to summarize what we've learned from this study, we've learned that professionals need to take responsibility for their decisions, even when it's with AI tools in place. That does not change. So given the fact that AI tools are opaque and the high time pressure on human experts when they're making these critical decisions, one does not have practical ability to unpack the nature of AI errors for a given decision. As a result, what we saw, the expert overrules the AI results most cases unless they have developed practices to decide whether the tool makes an error or not. And what are the broader implications for AI and collective intelligence? We believe that for the AI augmented models to work, professionals must either have an explainable AI tools or have a quick way of figuring out if the tool is correct using other technologies at hand and own expertise. Both of these are likely to take time. So in order to have a really good AI that improves quality, we need to take into consideration more time. Thank you very much for joining us. We are open to any questions. There are emails.